The Tampa Bay Buccaneers stormed their way to a very convincing victory in Week 1 of the 2024 NFL season, making a strong statement in their race to defend the NFC South title. I mean, Baker thrived, Mike Evans did his thing, Godwin is back to his best, and there are several rookies on this team to be very excited about. I think it is time to truly admit that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers might be for real. And now look, last year in a year where good quality football wasn't exactly a premium in the NFC South, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers emerged from the pile as champs. The primary reason for this was the emergence of Baker Mayfield, who put together a very tidy season and surprised many around the NFL. Offensive coordinator Dave Canellis was a perfect companion for Baker, helping him get comfortable in the pocket with very nice and easy throws, while also celebrating his aggressive tendencies and allowing him to throw deep. Baker's good play earned him a 3-year, $115 million contract, which is his first major contract in the NFL, despite the fact that he was the first overall pick back in 2018. And now with Canellis now working as the head coach in Carolina, all eyes were on Baker to see if he could continue the good run of form with yet another offensive coordinator. Thankfully, getting to grips with new offensive schemes is something that Baker is very accustomed to by now, thanks to his time at various teams around the NFL. And I think what made this particular transition a bit easier, though, is that Canellis' replacement, Liam Cohen, briefly worked with Baker while they were both together on the LA Rams. And now look, I know there is a game this week and it's going to happen in a couple hours, but for starters, last weekend's game against the Washington Commanders was their first proper test, and it's fair to say that they both passed with flying colors. Mayfield picked up right where he left off, efficiently delivering the ball to his playmakers while also dropping some absolute dimes. His final box score was a very tidy 24 completions for 30 attempts for 289 yards and 4 touchdowns. To cap off the perfect day, he had 0 interceptions and also 21 very useful yards on the ground. And now, yes, I know that it was against the Washington Commanders, who fairly said aren't going to be that great of a team this year and also have a rookie starting in Jaden Daniels in his first game last week. But I mean, nevertheless, those are still NFL players that are on the field, and Baker went out there and had an absolute field day with them. Mayfield continued the trend of being absolutely superb on third down. Last year, according to TeamRankings.com, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were top 10 in the NFL with a very impressive 41% conversion rate on third down. In week 1, they converted their third downs at a rate of 69%, which led the NFL. Like, for context, the New York Jets came in at second with 60%, followed by the New Orleans Saints and Arizona Cardinals at 53%. Baker seemed to be absolutely automatic on third downs, with both Chris Godwin and Mike Evans constantly popping up in the right places with big catches. And there was a lot of talk about Chris Godwin's usage over the offseason, with the Buccaneers announcing that he would be moving back into the slot. And honestly, for me, that seems like it's a very sensible decision, especially when it got announced, and the team was rewarded for doing so immediately. Godwin looks back to his absolute best, catching all 8 of his targets for 83 yards and 1 touchdown in week 1. 6 of his catches went for first downs, and he also showed off his impressive athleticism on his touchdown catch and another run after the catch played later in the game. Godwin is quietly coming off a stretch of 3 consecutive seasons with over 1,000 yards, and if this move back into the slot can return him to the peak of his powers, the Buccaneers will be boasting a very exciting group of pass catchers. Because look, Mike Evans is legitimately that dude when he is out there on the field. He is just so highly underrated, it's insane. The future Hall of Famer has epitomized quality and reliability throughout his career, notching 10 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Now he's at the age of 31, and Evans' preseason narratives are beginning to focus on any potential declines in health or production due to his age. And well, after the performance he had in week 1, I think it's safe to say that we can put off all those kind of guessing games we had about him off till next season, because the dude looked insane. Like, we saw vintage Mike Evans last weekend popping up with acrobatic catches on third downs on the sideline, as well as a seemingly impossible contested catch in the end zone. I mean, his battle for the ball with the Commanders cornerback to produce the first touchdown of the game was simply jaw-dropping. He ended the day with 5 catches on 6 targets for 61 yards and 2 touchdowns. And look, with Mike Evans on the outside and Godwin working out of the slot, Mayfield has 2 very talented targets to work with. But the fun doesn't just stop at those 2 wide receivers, because their 3rd round draft pick in Jalen McMillan absolutely had himself a day as well, even catching a touchdown late in the 4th quarter. And while it is exciting to see the rookie finally get his first NFL touchdown in a regular season game, I think what makes it even more exciting is the fashion that he did it in. Like, after lining up as the outside receiver on the right-hand side of the field, McMillan was set in motion, drifting inside Chris Godwin in the slot before waltzing upfield to secure the wide open touchdown. Like, this play is the perfect example of how pre-snap motion can confuse defenses, which was really nicely designed by Liam Cohen and perfectly executed by both Baker and McMillan. And as I mentioned before, Cohen used to work inside of the LA Rams organization alongside Sean McVay, so he comes from that coaching tree as well. And as we all know, this tree is renowned for its clever use of motion, and McVay is a very big proponent of using 11 personnel, which keeps those 3 wide receivers on the field. And I think if Cohen takes that pretty much from Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan, who he's learned all this from, and applies it to the Buccaneers, and whoever is going to be that 3rd wide receiver for the Bucs, they're going to have a big year for themselves. Given McMillan also broke free for what could have been another long touchdown earlier in the game, which he did drop, the signs are definitely positive for him winning that role as a rookie. I mean, McMillan was incredibly productive within the Washington Huskies' high-octane passing attack in college. He posted over 1,000 yards in 2022 before seeing his 2023 campaign shortened because of injury. Had that injury not happened, there's every chance that McMillan would have gone higher in the draft. Like, this dude is a very talented receiver, and if he can settle himself in the NFL, the Bucs really do have a fantastic array of pass catchers. But now we should probably flip to Baker Mayfield, since he's the one that really keeps this offense going. And I mean, at the point that he threw the first touchdown pass to Mike Evans, he was 10 of his 12 pass attempts for 129 yards and the touchdown. He later went on to have 12 straight completions and frankly looked like one of the best quarterbacks in general over the week 1 slate of games. Like, with all the talk of eye-watering quarterback contracts going over recent years, the $115 million the Buccaneers are paying Baker Mayfield is shaping up to be an absolute bargain. I mean, add in the fact also that their 1st-round offensive lineman Graham Barton looks to be an absolute stud, and 4th-round rookie running back Bucky Irving looks incredibly explosive. There's a lot to be excited about in Tampa Bay. And like, I mean, Barton in the preseason was absolutely killing it, and then even in the regular season game, he held his own. And like I said before, I know the Commanders aren't loaded with a bunch of talent, but that defensive line has some absolute studs along it. So for him to be able to hold his own against a pretty elite defensive line says a lot about the kid. Like, I think he gave up 2 pressures all day, so to walk away with having to block Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne all game long, that shows that you're probably built for the NFL. Bucky Irving's first taste of NFL action was also successful. He proved that he was a very useful running back, working alongside Rachaad White, looking decisive and speedy on his 9 carries for 62 yards. He also added 14 more yards on 2 receptions. White has struggled with efficiency throughout his young career, turning in a yards per carry of just 3.6 in 2023 and 3.7 in 2022. He could only muster up 2.1 yards per carry in this one, but proved yet again that he is incredibly productive as a receiver out of the backfield. If Irving continues to develop and perform well as a rusher, we could see him start to get much more involved on earlier downs, creating a very talented 1-2 punch with White. Ladies and gentlemen, football is back, and what better way to celebrate your favorite team than with some autographed memorabilia that is affordable. And don't worry, because today's sponsor of my giveaway has got you covered. Pristine Auction is your one-stop shop for any and everything authentic sports memorabilia. I was lucky enough to win this autographed CJ Stroud helmet that I will be giving away to you guys because we just hit 23,000 subscribers. So shout out to you guys for liking, commenting, and subscribing. You guys know it means the world to me. And because of you guys showing support for this channel, I went out and I got you guys this helmet that we are going to be giving away to one lucky winner via my Twitter and inside of my Discord. So make sure that you follow the rules inside of there to be entered to win this helmet. Again, this is an autographed helmet authenticated by Fanatics that was autographed by CJ Stroud, the one, the only, the greatest rookie of all time, my favorite player right now, CJ Stroud. All you simply have to do is go to my pinned post on my Twitter, follow the rules there, and you will be entered. And if you want an extra entry, like, comment on this video, and I will make sure to give you an extra entry for the giveaway. But for now, Pristine is offering you $10 off your first winning bid when you use code KRICH10 for $10 off at checkout. Make sure to check them out. They are where I get all my sports memorabilia from. And if you purchase something using code KRICH10 and submit it in my Discord or on that Twitter post, I'll make sure to give you an extra entry. Thank you again to Pristine for sponsoring this giveaway as we just hit 23,000 subscribers. And more importantly, thank you to you guys for supporting me and allowing me to do this full time. But for now, let's get back into the video. But I think the more concerning part of this team that everybody was looking at was on the defensive side of the ball. Vita Vea, Levante David, and Antonio Whitfield Jr. are all studs at their positions and give the defense a very talented core. But there are useful playmakers elsewhere as well. The pass rush did take a hit when Kalijah Kancey was scratched from the active roster because of injury, but there are several other players on the D-line that the Buccaneers front office will be hoping can take some steps forward this year. Yaya Diaby and Chris Braswell are the names that they're hoping to develop further, but I mean, there is a chance this year that this defense will get better at rushing the passer throughout the year. Unfortunately though, an ankle injury was suffered by Winfield Jr., and it's going to keep him sidelined for a few weeks, which is not what this defense needs, but they'll be hoping to capitalize on this strong start, so they're gonna need players to step up in Winfield's absence. And now look, the NFC South, it pretty much was as good as it was this year, if not worse last year. So for them to go into the playoffs and then beat the Eagles like nobody thought they were going to do says a lot about this team. And respectfully, if this team can play this well like they did in week 1, continue it this week in week 2, and so on moving forward, they might be a pretty scary team to play for the rest of this season. Like if the Buccaneers can actually put together a really good season, get 10 or 11 wins in this really weak NFC South and pull it out over the Falcons, they might actually get a really good seed going into the playoffs, like a 3 or even a 2 seed if they can muster up like somehow 12 wins with the roster they have. I mean, first things first, they are going to have to win the NFC South, which shouldn't be that hard, especially if Falcons, who everybody, including myself, did think was easily going to win the division this year, continues to play like they did in week 1, then the Buccaneers have every chance, if not more, to be a 2 or a 3 seed this season. I mean, as I said before, all offseason, the discussion has been around the Atlanta Falcons as the division favorites, thanks to their high-profile signing of quarterback Kirk Cousins, but the Buccaneers will have enjoyed watching him struggle in his debut against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I mean, now with Mayfield now even more settled within the Buccaneers roster, and the offense seemingly have taken a step forward, they surely have to be considered the favorites now. I mean, they benefit from continuity across the roster and will have benefited greatly from getting the job done last year. I mean, of course, it is only week 1, which is famous in NFL circles for being a prime week for overreacting. And I mean, on the topic of overreacting, I personally would be fascinated to know what the Buccaneers made of the other contender in the NFC South, with that being the New Orleans Saints. I mean, the Panthers, I think, are safe to say the worst team in the NFL. So it pretty much comes down to the Saints and the Falcons as really being the only other teams challenging the Bucs this year. Because I mean, look, in week 1, just like Baker Mayfield, Derek Carr is entering his 2nd season with the Saints, and he kicked things off in similarly impressive fashion, throwing 3 touchdowns en route to a 47-10 hammering. And look, I'm a Saints fan, and in that game, Alvin Kamara kind of looked shifty, Taysom Hill looked powerful, and Rashid Shaheed got loose for a beautiful long touchdown. So who knows? Maybe the Saints can challenge them. But I mean, either way, this division certainly feels a lot more spicy than it did in years gone past. But the Buccaneers are now the pick for me. And look, I mean, I chose the Falcons earlier this year, but for now, it kind of looks like the Bucs might be winning this division. But I want to know what you guys think. What do you think of the Bucs so far? I know it is only week 1, but now we have week 2, and they are on in a couple hours. Give me what your score prediction before the game is. If it already did happen, how did it go? Let me know what your thoughts are, key takeaways from the game. I'll be doing my week 2 recap later today, so make sure that you guys are staying tuned for that. If you guys did enjoy the video, make sure that you guys like, comment, and subscribe. It lets me know to keep making more of these videos that you guys are enjoying, and I'll continue to push them out for you guys. Also, I think I did put it in this video, but we are giving away a CJ Stroud autographed helmet, so make sure that you guys are signing up for my Discord and following the directions inside of the read in the middle of this video to be entered into that. And as always, I will catch you guys in the next one.